Support WrestleTalk!
Give us a subscribe. Thanks for your support on Patreon, Paulie Dangerously Jarman. Hello and welcome to the WrestleTalk Super News! I'm Ollie Davis. Poke the thumbs up button in the eye and hit the subscribe one with a chair when the referee is conveniently distracted. When All Elite Wrestling officially announced itself at the start of this year, it seemed the wrestling world was about to form a mega faction against WWE's decades-long rest hold through a commercial break over the industry. Surely the new promotion would team up with the second most financially successful company in the world after WWE and arguably the art form's leader, New Japan Pro Wrestling. Problem was, AEW took four of New Japan's biggest stars, gutting their biggest faction, the Bullet Club, understandably leaving New Japan a bit miffed, with Dave Meltzer reporting back in July that AEW was a taboo subject backstage in New Japan, and the relationship was fractured. And it's not just the bad feels between the two sides that's stopping them from working together, but also the global wrestling chessboard's historic allegiances and rivalries. With New Japan's long-standing working relationships with Ring of Honor and CMLL, which are direct competitors to AEW and AEW's Mexican partner promotion AAA respectively. But that hasn't stopped two of AEW's highest profile stars in Jon Moxley and Chris Jericho wrestling for New Japan this year, with Jericho, the AEW champion, set to fight Hiroshi Tanahashi at next month's Wrestle Kingdom. Nevertheless, Nick Jackson of the Young Bucks tweeted about the potential relationship earlier this month. It's really not happening, been asked this thousands of times, and telling the truth is always best. Don't want fans holding on to something that has zero chance of happening. Which is exactly what a co-executive vice president of a wrestling promotion trying to cover up a larger working relationship with another wrestling promotion would say. New Japan and AEW working together confirmed, which New Japan Big Boss President Man Harold Mage has potentially foreshadowed in an interview with Fox Sports. We're very open to working with anyone. We don't exclude anyone, but it does take time to create that trust between companies. We'll have to see if that brand fits our brand, of course. At this stage, they still have different styles than we do, and that's the only thing. We're looking at what their brand positioning is and whether it complements ours. If Orange Cassidy doesn't scream hard-hitting New Japan strong style, I don't know what does. Do you want to see AEW and New Japan work together, and why? Let me know in the comments, because I'll be replying from out of nowhere for the first 30 minutes after this video goes live. But then Mage went on to say that New Japan is there for the long run with partners that we tie up with, meaning their current US exclusive wrestling BFFs, Ring of Honor. Put the bubbly on ice, Luke! And while you're at it, order 10,000 more Jericho branded bottles for the Christmas party. Following AEW Le Champion Chris Jericho announcing that his own brand of sparkling wine was now on sale at last Wednesday's episode of Dynamite, he's revealed on Instagram how that product launch went. Unbelievable to hear that hashtag a little bit of the bubbly sold 10,000 bottles in just over 2 days. The demand was so crazy that you crashed 19 servers on the Bubbly website. Thanks to all of you who wanted to be part of this libation sensation. Order yours now at littlebitofthebubbly.com, link in the bio, hashtag Le Champion. Because AEW are far more than just a t-shirt company. They're also a novelty wine company. Wrestling fans will buy anything. Did I mention we here at WrestleTalk launched our brand new WrestleTalkMerch.com shop last Friday, with brand new designs including WrestleTalk classics, presenter logos, and a very cool foreign objects line with little wrestling weapons on the left pec, drawn by our amazing fan at Lucky Rabbit Rob on Instagram. Please buy some. And because 'tis the season of consumerism, maybe treat yourself to a ridiculously expensive, Fiend-specific WWE Universal Championship belt. Last week's Wrestling Observer newsletter revealed Bray Wyatt's Fiend is the #1 merchandise seller in the company, with Hurt and Heel gloves, Firefly Funhouse puppets, and at some live events, Bray Wyatt head replica lanterns. As Canna toy development executive Bernard Loomis famously once said about Star Wars, it's a toyetic franchise. What Bray has created with such a rich and fascinating lore around the Fiend is a merchetic wrestling gimmick. And true to form, WWE are immediately going to run that well dry and make as much merch as possible. Did I mention we've got new t-shirts too? Rather ingeniously, on Friday's episode of SmackDown, Bray said that he has his Blueniversal title, so it's only fair that his Fiend alter ego gets his own design too. The Fiend's face hideously stretched across a belt as though it's made of human skin. And that can be yours for the small price of $6,499 99 cents. To be fair to that very highly priced product, the belt is a limited run collector's edition and is handcrafted by the studio of famed horror special effects maestro Tom Savini. I guess I'll have to make do with the far more terrifying "Page here" variant. Thanks to Harrison Berry for emailing that in. But Bray isn't just responsible for letting the Fiend into WWE. He also kind of made woken Matt Hardy happen too. After being one of the hottest acts in wrestling through 2016 and 17 with his insane Broken Universe gimmick, developing a cult following at Impact Wrestling, where he received almost complete creative freedom, getting entire TV episodes devoted to his vision, Matt Hardy left the promotion because of contract renegotiations falling through, had one fantastic ladder match against the Young Bucks in Ring of Honor, then made his WWE return with his brother Jeff at WrestleMania 33. They did so as the Hardy Boys gimmick, one that was already about 15 years out of date, and the nostalgia pop quickly wore off despite them holding the tag team championships. The brothers were split up, with Jeff getting a singles push, leaving Matt to finally create a WWE version of his broken character, Woken Matt Hardy. Unfortunately, despite being critically well received in a WWE Network House Hardy special and an Ultimate Deletion segment on Raw, the promotion never seemed to truly believe in the gimmick, which is totally understandable as it's a very divisive act and potentially could turn off part of the mainstream audience. But perhaps seeing how his former Deleters of Worlds tag partner Bray has found so much success with creative freedom over his own rather wacky character, Matt is reportedly clashing with WWE officials over his contract renegotiations. According to PW Insider, after signing a 2-year deal back in 2017, which was extended another year by WWE before WrestleMania 35, Matt's deal will now expire in February 2020. But while the two sides have been in discussions, PW Insider is told that how Hardy will be used going forward has been the biggest sticking point in negotiations. Apparently, Hardy and WWE aren't that far apart on financial considerations, meaning WWE have probably offered him a load of money like they are everyone else out of fear talent will go to AEW. But they won't commit to using him consistently on TV, an idea that was made very clear last Monday when Matt made his on-screen return to WWE from out of nowhere, i.e. unannounced, to losing a squash match to Buddy Murphy while dressed as the late 90s. And that could push him to WWE's biggest competitor. PW Insider also notes that Matt realizes this could be one of the last contracts he ever signs, given that he's just turned 45 and how he almost retired last year because of injury, with WWE looking to sign most people for 5-year deals, like the recent contracts announced for The Miz, Paige and Randy Orton, that would keep Matt in the promotion until he's 50, which would likely mean the end of his in-ring career. Given Matt's history with the Bucks, how AEW have given their wrestlers significant creative freedom, and that they're really the only other promotion in the US that can match WWE's money offer, their educated guess would be Hardy takes his broken gimmick there if he can't reach an agreement with Vince McMahon. An educated guess that Matt himself has been keen to tease, launching his new YouTube series Free the Delete last month, an obvious play on the Young Bucks long-running show Being the Elite, which PW Insider claim is a way to reintroduce his broken Matt character, a gimmick he smartly retained the rights to when returning to WWE. Matt is planning ahead by using YouTube and social media to prepare for his potential return to the independent scene and beyond. Obviously, as Broken Matt, a persona that he's had phenomenal success with both from a creative and merchandise standpoint. And nowhere is that more obvious than in his latest Free the Delete episode, which begins with the voiceover. Gotta get in shape, gotta build a reservoir, gotta be a dad. No time, no direction. 13 weeks. 13 weeks from the date of upload just so happens to be the end of February, where PW Insider report Matt's WWE contract expires. One spanner in the wrestling work, however, is that episode also appears to set up a feud with Bray Wyatt, as a lady voice whispers, "Let me in," while the background piano music sounds like a rendition of Bray's Broken Out in Love theme tune. A main event feud over the Universal Championship for Hardy, however, is sadly very unlikely given WWE's treatment of Matt over the last 2 years. It's far more possible the Wyatt references are just a continuation of the last time we saw the Lake of Reincarnation, where Matt used it to rid Wyatt of the Sister Abigail spirit during the Ultimate Deletion segment on Raw. Matt has also tweeted over the last few days, "Always move forward. And considering I'm in a very secure place in my life, being creatively fulfilled and pushing the business forward is very important to me now. Where do you think Matt Hardy will end up? Vote in the question in a poll match above my head. Season 3 of our Fantasy Wrestling Predictions League, Wrestle League, available to participate in for all $5 a month or more pledge hammers on Patreon, controversially concluded at Survivor Series last week, which saw Chopper Pete lose the Office rankings, meaning he has to do a music video punishment. And thanks to your suggestions and votes, the result is Tyler Breeze's #gorgeous with a massive 53% of the question on a poll match. Chopper's off this week, so we'll get that made next week, and we'll make him do loads of embarrassing things he really doesn't want to do. He genuinely does not want to do it. He told me a lot last week how he does it. 3 big stars returned on last Friday's SmackDown. Find out in our review by clicking the video on the right. And we've got merch. Watch our super artistic advert, #ThankYouJaden, by clicking the video below that. I've been Ollie Davis, and that was wrestling.